Here on Career Survival Guide, we've talked about the importance of professional networking and setting up informational interviews. Now, once you've scheduled those meetings, I cannot stress enough the importance of showing up prepared. So in today's video, I'm bringing on a friend who can share some pointers. Today's guest is Aleenah Ansari. In addition to being one of my best friends, Aleenah is a writer and content program manager at Microsoft. As a writing consultant, she offers everything from resume and LinkedIn reviews to one-on-one career coaching. She's also been a mentor to many young professionals, especially women of color. Take it away, Aleenah.
Thanks for having me, Starla. You might be asking yourself, how do I get the most out of a relationship with a mentor? The most important thing is to come prepared and focus on building authentic relationships. Here are my 5 tips to finding a mentor and making the most out of that relationship. Number 1, do your research. Once you find someone that you want to chat with, be sure to check out their digital presence online. This could be their portfolio, their LinkedIn, their Twitter, whatever it is. Go through it and note some specific questions that you might want to ask. For example, you might find that they transitioned from psychology to human-centered design and engineering, and you could ask more about that. Or you could ask about their experience at startups and how that was different than working at large tech corporations. Whatever you learn about them, be sure that you come to the table with those specific questions and follow up on how you can learn more. For example, when I'm looking at people's LinkedIn's or portfolios, I look for folks who are interested in marketing and storytelling because that's a really central value of mine as a writer. And so when I reach out to them via email, I can say, I noticed that your work of outbound marketing has a storytelling component. Or, I noticed that you studied journalism in college and I was very involved in my journalism community. And that way you can have some common ground and use that as a jumping off point to start the conversation. Take note of these questions and make sure that you have them prepared for when you come to the meeting with that person. It's a great way to show follow-up and initiative. Number 2. Make sure that you take the time to introduce yourself and explain what you want to get out of a meeting or a one-on-one. For example, I often introduce myself as a writer at Microsoft who's looking into marketing and creative director roles, and I'll also explain how I found the other person. In some cases, I might have discovered them through an event, through a LinkedIn post, or even a mutual friend that we both know. From there, I'll explain that there's a couple things that I would like to go over. Maybe I want to learn how to transition to a marketing role, or perhaps I'm just curious about how their MBA or their design degree informs the work that they do because I'm considering taking the same path. Whatever it is, make sure that you're asking questions from a place of genuine curiosity. And from there, invite the other person to share a little bit about their own story with vulnerability. Make sure to listen closely, and if something piques your interest, ask a follow-up question. I always try to create space for the other person to share a little bit more about their story. So after introducing myself, I might even ask, what brought you to your current role, and how would you describe your everyday work? And getting that context really grounds the whole conversation in the kind of work that they do on a day-to-day basis, and allows me to ask follow-up questions about things that pique my interest. And oftentimes, the intro that they'll tell you is so much more vivid or detailed than what you'd see on their portfolio or their resume. So take the opportunity to learn a little bit more about them in their own words. 3. Don't just ask people about the work that they do. Learn more about who they are. This is incredibly important because as much as we learn about people's titles or jobs as marketers or writers or designers, you name it, I often find that the conversations about their purpose or what moves them are often more interesting and more vivid. For that reason, I often ask people, when do you feel the most fulfilled by your work? What keeps you motivated and who are you advocating for? And that gives the other person the opportunity to open up and share a little bit more of their story with even more vulnerability and honesty. It's also an opportunity for the other person to share a little bit more about their identity. For example, they might mention that they're a woman of color, a daughter or a son of immigrants, a proud Seattleite. And when they share those identities, perhaps you will resonate with them and share a piece of your own story and feel a little bit more represented or connected to that conversation. In the process of asking questions about not just people's work, but who they are, I've had really honest conversations about the value of storytelling, the importance of negotiating and recognizing your worth. and even the journey to become a creative director and how I'm a lot closer to that than I realized. On the flip side, if I'm really interested in the person's role or company, I might take the meeting as an opportunity to ask more about the culture. One question that I find helpful is, what is the culture around taking time off? Or when everybody was in the office, did you often eat lunch together, or were there social events? Even these simple questions can give you a sense of the dynamics of the workplace and the team. I also ask, what's something you wish you had known when you started your role? Or what's something you wish you had known when you started your career? And it gives them an opportunity to really open up and share some lessons learned that hopefully you can implement or think about how to include in your own life or work. Number 4, ask who you can meet next. Don't forget to ask your mentor or the person you're chatting with if they can think of 2 to 3 people that you could chat with after the call. It could be people who are in the same discipline as you or have the same interests, or even just somebody that they mentioned that you'd love to learn more about. And here's a bonus tip. I often include a forwardable introduction. This essentially is an intro in third person that includes my name and role, my interests, and links to any projects, my portfolio, or even my LinkedIn if it's relevant in case the person wants to learn more about me. That makes it super easy for the mentor to find the person in question, copy and paste it in the email, and send it off. Number 5, follow up. In the words of author and career development speaker Minda Harts, follow-up is the most important ingredient for sustaining your network. Once you chat with someone, be sure to follow up in an email within 24 to 48 hours and specifically mention 1 to 2 things that resonated with you about the conversation, or even programs or opportunities that you'll look for in the future. It's also a great way to reiterate that you're thankful for their time, and you can even mention some of the folks that you'd like to be connected with if they mention their names. Include that forwardable introduction and send it off. Honestly, as someone who is now a mentor, I really appreciate it when mentees follow up in this way, because it shows that they enjoyed and valued the conversation that I had, and it helps me know that I'm doing something right. I also recommend making note of any special dates that this person has coming up, whether it's a project milestone, a work anniversary, or a birthday. And that's a great opportunity to follow up and check in with them and really focus on making and building an authentic relationship with that person. One of the most important things I've learned about mentorship is that it's a two-way street. You might be asking a lot of questions, but make sure that you're also sharing parts of your own story along the way. And that gives the other person the opportunity to be in conversation with what you're sharing and get to know you as a person, not just a mentee or an employee. I hope you find a mentor or mentee that inspires you. And if there's a mentor that comes to mind, reach out to them and thank them for being in your life. And if you have any other questions, please leave them in the comments below or reach out to me on my socials. Thanks.
Huge thank you to Aleenah for joining us. You can connect with her on Instagram and LinkedIn, and you can also follow her work on her website, AleenahAnsari.com.